So now it's starting to look like Beyonce has seriously had enough of Jaguar Wright, and she's not just brushing it off anymore. Reports are buzzing that she may be thinking about taking legal action and actually suing Jaguar, which honestly doesn't come out of nowhere. Jaguar has been talking for years, dropping all kinds of stories about Beyonce and her husband, and not the harmless kind either. It's been the kind that gets people talking and questioning everything. This isn't just casual gossip, it's the intense, headline-grabbing type that sticks. And right now, with Beyonce already facing public attention over alleged connections to Diddy, things are getting even more tense. Jaguar recently made some very serious and controversial claims about harm involving others. And now people online are wondering if Beyonce is preparing to step in legally to shut it all down and protect her name before things spiral even further. This is getting intense because Beyonce is no longer staying quiet. She's pushing back and doing it in a big way. People have been saying Jaguar only started calling out Jay-Z and Beyonce after Diddy's situation blew up, but that's not really true. Jaguar has been speaking on them for years, and for a long time, people brushed her off and didn't take her seriously at all. Now things are shifting, and the same people who ignored her before are starting to look twice and question everything they once dismissed. With more stories and rumors popping up, fans are paying closer attention and wondering if there was something they missed this whole time. And Jaguar hasn't backed down either. She's been consistently calling them out, and it doesn't seem like she plans to stop anytime soon. When Cassie came forward and filed that lawsuit against Diddy last year, it shook everything up, and Jaguar didn't stay quiet during that moment either. She stepped right in and added her own claims into the conversation. She even threw direct shade at Jay-Z, suggesting he had deeper involvement and saying he was worse than Diddy, which only made the situation even more explosive and hard to ignore.
Sean Carter is worse.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
He's smarter. He's patient. He's not sloppy. Just been lining up people he calls friends and stepping to the side while they get hit by the guillotine for 30 years.
With how deep Jaguar's issues run with them, this kind of claim doesn't really surprise people anymore. In one interview, she even alleged that Jay-Z tried to seriously harm her back when she was working as a backup singer. She described a moment where he supposedly approached her in a threatening way, even mentioning a box cutter, which made the whole story sound intense and alarming.
Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it.
So there's been so many people on the internet trying to figure out where you are. They're watching you. They're doing all types of stuff trying to figure you out.
You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen that Cassie, that's nothing.
So are you trying to say like Jay-Z put hands on you?
I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me, and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy.
Yeah, it's clear Jaguar and the Carters are not cool at all. And every time she gets the chance, she puts their business out there without holding back. She's been very vocal, and it feels like every new interview brings another wave of bold claims that get people talking nonstop. In her recent interview with Piers Morgan, Jaguar made a shocking statement, claiming that Jay-Z was allegedly a key force behind the Me Too movement. She questioned his motives, suggesting it was all part of a bigger plan to distance himself from R. Kelly and any past associations. According to her, he supported the movement to protect his image and separate himself from any possible links, which made the whole situation sound even more controversial and hard to ignore.
Because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail, get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
Guess they on vacation.
And that wasn't even the end of it. She took things even further with another shocking claim. Jaguar also spoke about Aaliyah's passing, alleging that Beyonce was somehow involved, which instantly stirred up strong reactions and intense debate online because of how serious and sensitive that statement is.
3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping people against their will, putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane, unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Jaguar really didn't hold back with that statement at all. She stood firm on what she said and made sure people heard her loud and clear. Claims like that instantly got attention because of how serious they are, and it added even more tension to an already messy situation. For years, there have been rumors online suggesting Aaliyah's passing involved more than what was officially reported, and some fans have tried to connect those theories back to the Carters. People have speculated about Jay-Z's reported interest in Aaliyah and how that dynamic might have caused tension before Beyonce and Jay-Z became the power couple everyone knows today, though none of this has been confirmed. Aaliyah had ties to R. Kelly, who was connected to people in Jay-Z's circle, and that history has been pulled into these conversations again. It's important to note that Aaliyah was very young when she was placed in an illegal marriage with R. Kelly, a situation that was later annulled with help from her family. That part of the story remains one of the most disturbing and widely documented facts connected to that time, making everything around it even more sensitive and serious. Still, a lot of people side-eye the situation, saying it felt unsettling that Jay-Z was allegedly aware of what was going on back then and didn't speak up. Critics have pointed out how uncomfortable that looks in hindsight, especially with claims that he later showed strong interest in Aaliyah, which only adds more tension to the story. To understand why this even became such a big deal, you have to remember just how huge Aaliyah was in the early 2000s. She wasn't just popular, she was that star, dominating music, film, and fashion all at once. Everyone in the industry noticed her, and naturally, she had a lot of attention coming her way from powerful names trying to get close. Jay-Z and Dame Dash were already dealing with their own issues, but things reportedly got even more complicated when Aaliyah entered the picture. People have long talked about how both men were interested in her, and that rivalry allegedly made their already shaky relationship even worse. Some even claim that this tension played a role in business decisions later on, including Jay-Z eventually separating from Dame in a move that many saw as a major betrayal, making the whole situation feel even more dramatic and layered. Aaliyah carried herself like she knew exactly who she was, and she wasn't letting anyone overlook that for a second. She was confident, in demand, and moving through the spotlight with ease, enjoying the attention that naturally came her way. She spent time around different people in the industry, but she kept things on her own terms and didn't rush into locking anything down. According to stories that have circulated over the years, it wasn't even about anything serious or physical. It was more about the attention, the energy, and the lifestyle that came with being at the top. She had people showing up, trying to impress her, and she knew how to keep that dynamic without getting tied into anything too heavy. Jay-Z and Dame Dash were both part of that scene, each trying to win her over while fully aware the other was doing the exact same thing. It created this quiet but intense rivalry where both of them were allegedly trying to outdo each other, making moves and showing up bigger just to get her attention, which made the whole situation feel like a behind-the-scenes competition nobody wanted to lose.
I kind of eased up, but then we ran into each other. It's a long story.
So you and Jay was both getting at Aaliyah. Obviously,
everybody was getting at Aaliyah, bro.
Right.
She was like, you know, she'll go to dinner with her. She wasn't going to just be smashing.
Two friends going after the same woman, that situation almost never ends well, and this was no exception. It's the kind of setup that brings tension fast, and once feelings and egos get involved, things can spiral before anyone even realizes it. People have pointed out that Aaliyah wasn't exactly making it simple either. She was spending time with both Jay-Z and Dame Dash, going on dates and enjoying herself while both of them were fully aware of what was happening. You can just imagine the side eyes and quiet tension building every time they were in the same room because nobody wants to feel like they're losing in that kind of situation. It didn't take long for things to start falling apart, especially with emotions running high. And when Aaliyah reportedly chose to be with Dame, That's when everything really shifted. What made it even more awkward was how it came out. Dame didn't directly tell Jay-Z, and instead, the truth surfaced during a 4th of July party where they were all present, turning the whole moment into a tense and uncomfortable scene that people still talk about.
So, this is gonna be hard for me, because he was throwing, because his friends were laughing at him.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I might have a up question since we're talking about Aaliyah, and ignore me if it's too much, but do you have any opinion on the R. Kelly situation? Do you think he got railroaded, or he's where he belongs?
Dame even admitted himself that he already knew things were about to get complicated after that moment. He said he expected Jay-Z to make things difficult moving forward because the reaction was intense and emotions were clearly running high. You could feel the tension in the air, and it was obvious the situation had shifted in a major way.
Do you have any opinion on the R. Kelly situation? Do you think he got railroaded, or he's where he belongs?
Yeah, I think he's where he belongs.
Jaguar Wright didn't stay quiet on that part either. She jumped right in with her own take and made things even more intense. She claimed that Aaliyah was actually the main reason behind the fallout between Jay-Z and Dame Dash, putting all the focus on that situation as the turning point. According to her, Jay-Z was upset about losing Aaliyah to Dame, and she suggested that it created a level of resentment that damaged their entire friendship. The way she framed it, it came off like a situation driven by jealousy and bruised egos, which only adds another dramatic layer to an already complicated story.
I think everybody that knows Sean Carter knows that he will slump anyone in any relationship for $1. Look at how he did Dame. Like, I don't give a if you wanted to get away from your homie, if you wanted to get away from your partner, but to do it the way he did it, it's malicious. But maybe that was because he was a girl that didn't want you.
After everything that happened with Aaliyah, Jay-Z eventually moved on and built his relationship with Beyonce, but people kept talking. There were constant rumors suggesting he still had strong feelings tied to Aaliyah, and at the same time, fans were already comparing Beyonce and Aaliyah as two of the biggest names in music. That energy alone made everything feel tense, and people kept framing it like some kind of complicated triangle, which only made the narrative messier. When Aaliyah sadly passed away in that plane crash, it shocked the world, and suddenly everything around her name became even more sensitive and heavily discussed. Some people began pointing out how Beyonce went on to reach even higher levels of fame afterward, but it's important to separate speculation from confirmed facts because those kinds of claims can quickly spiral. There have also been ongoing conversations about the circumstances of that tragic crash. Aaliyah was in the Bahamas filming a music video, even though there were earlier plans connected to Florida. The location change has been brought up in discussions over the years, along with how quickly everything moved during the shoot. Reports say filming wrapped earlier than expected, but when it was time to leave, that's when the situation took a devastating turn, making it one of the most heartbreaking moments in music history. Because they wrapped early, there were issues with transportation, and things quickly became complicated. Aaliyah reportedly reached out to Lenny Kravitz for help, and he was willing to send a private jet, which could have changed everything. But then, according to accounts, Hype Williams stepped in and said another flight had already been arranged, shifting the plan at the last minute. That replacement plane raised concerns right away. It was described as too small for Aaliyah and her team, and there were claims that it was carrying too much equipment, making the situation feel unsafe from the start. Later reports and investigations also brought up serious issues, including allegations about the pilot's condition, which only made the tragedy even more disturbing to look back on. There have also been claims over the years that Aaliyah felt uneasy about boarding that flight and didn't want to get on. Some stories have gone as far as alleging she was given something to calm her down and was assisted onto the plane, though these claims remain unverified and are widely debated. This is similar to what Jaguar Wright referenced in her interview, which brought the topic back into public conversation again. Tragically, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff, taking the lives of Aaliyah and everyone on board. A loss that shook the entire world. Over time, some artists and insiders have shared their thoughts, suggesting there may have been unanswered questions surrounding that day, but no official findings have confirmed those more extreme theories. The tragedy remains deeply painful, and discussions around it continue to be handled with care because of how serious it is.
I just know that was, you know what I'm saying, that was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not, because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying, whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring who, you know what I'm saying, for what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life. And it's so unfair.
Anyway, going back to Jaguar's interview with Piers Morgan, that's where things really exploded. She made a shocking allegation about Beyonce in connection to Aaliyah, and the reaction was immediate and intense across the internet. It didn't take long for Beyonce's legal team to step in and respond with serious pressure. Reports say Piers Morgan was quickly hit with legal warnings, and his reaction was just as fast. He issued a public apology and made it clear he was distancing himself from Jaguar's statements, moving quickly to separate his platform from those claims. The whole situation shifted almost overnight, showing just how high stakes and sensitive these allegations really are.
Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored, but like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too, and we apologise to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Now, people online are saying Jaguar could be next in line to face legal action from Beyonce, and some are even interpreting recent moves as a subtle warning to stay quiet or face serious consequences. The speculation is everywhere, and it's got people debating nonstop about what might happen next. As always, the reactions are all over the place. Some are convinced a lawsuit wouldn't even happen, with one person saying Jay-Z and Beyonce wouldn't risk it because they believe it could backfire. Others are pointing to how quickly legal pressure was applied in the Piers Morgan situation, claiming that the call to address what Jaguar said shows just how seriously this is being taken behind the scenes. Either way, the conversation is getting louder, and people are watching closely to see what move comes next. But here's where people really start asking questions. Why hasn't there been an actual defamation lawsuit filed yet? Some are saying it might not be that simple, especially with everything else going on in the background. There's talk that if a lawsuit does happen, it could open the door to discovery, and that's where things could get complicated real fast. Others are pointing out that with all the attention around the Diddy situation, timing would matter a lot. Some believe that certain details connected to that case could potentially come up and create even more headlines, which might make any legal move riskier than it seems. So now people are debating whether staying quiet is actually the smarter play instead of taking it straight to court. But now I want to hear what you think. Do you believe Beyonce is really going to sue, or is this all just talk to shake things up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates like this.